Kevin and Kelly are a loving couple, and on this day they moved to a remote small town. While tidying up the room, Kelly discovered a dead bird in the house. She initially planned to bury it, but when she turned around, it disappeared. Kevin found a strange key while cleaning the room and casually tossed it aside. Behind the old wallpaper, she discovered a locked iron door. Seeing the keyhole, she remembered the strange key. Kevin found the key and opened this very old-looking metal door. Strangely, it was pitch black inside, and the moment they stepped through the door, the lights in the house suddenly started flickering continuously. Thinking it was an electrical fault, he called in the town's electrician. The electrician, upon seeing the dense wiring, found it very eerie. He had never seen such a strange circuit and didn't know where to start. Before leaving, he told Kevin that this old house was famously haunted in the area. The previous owner was murdered inside, and the killer was their own son, Mark. Afterwards, he was diagnosed with a mental illness and was confined to the town's psychiatric hospital. Many years later, he was sitting in a small room drinking, and he quickly finished a bottle of alcohol. He casually remarked, "I really wish I could have another bottle." As soon as he said this, the lights in the room began to flicker, and when they came back on, there was indeed another bottle of alcohol in front of him. The next day, when Kelly found him, the room was filled with many things, including numerous famous paintings, all of which were genuine. Excitedly, he told Kelly to make a wish too. Kelly casually said, "I want $1,000. Sure enough, the money appeared in the corner. Next, Kelly said she wanted $1 million, and the next second, the two were shocked to see the floor covered with money. Kelly felt an ominous premonition about this unearned gain, but they quickly embraced the joy of having their wishes come true. After that, they began making wishes wildly, spending on luxury goods, high-end red wine, delicious food, and even acquiring diamonds and jade, flaunting their wealth in various ways. However, after the brief satisfaction came endless emptiness. Kelly felt that she had everything, yet she was no longer happy. Now the only thing she wanted was a little baby. So he made up his mind to enter the wishing room. When Kevin entered the room, there was already a baby on the bed. Kevin thought this was too absurd, and after a furious outburst at Kelly, he took the baby into the wishing room, hoping to wish the child back to its own world. However, neither of them could bring themselves to do it, and they ultimately decided to keep the baby, naming him Sean. After going through so much, Kevin felt that things had gone beyond his expectations, so he took a stack of money and went out, heading to the town's mental hospital. Scallion, who had taken over the care of the orphaned child Mark, gathered some useful information here. Mark, now an elderly man over 50, warned Kevin that leaving that house was the best choice. On his way home, when Kevin was refueling, he discovered that the cash he brought out in the morning had turned into a pocketful of ashes. He seemed to understand something and hurried back home. He threw the money out of the window, and soon the scattered cash all turned into ashes. He left half of a sentence inside the house and half outside, and the words outside also slowly turned into ashes, while those inside remained intact. Clearly, the house can create anything. Once taken outside, it will accelerate aging over time. To figure out how the room works, Kevin started breaking open the walls. No matter which wall he broke open, they were all filled with wires, even the floor. Kevin was frightened by this scene, and he even saw the bizarre design blueprints of the entire house on the wall. Just when he was at a loss, Kelly planned to take the baby outside to get some sun, but Kevin stopped her. However, he didn't listen to Kevin and took Sean outside. As soon as Sean went out, he started crying, and slowly his face began to age and his feet started to grow. Kevin quickly ran out and brought the child back, only to find that after going out once, the child had turned into a 10-year-old. Kelly finally understood the secret of the house. Anything wished for cannot be taken out of the house. Just as Kevin was explaining the workings of the house to Kelly, Sean walked in and heard everything. Seeing that the child in front of her was actually fake, how could the female lead accept it? Kelly treated Sean as her own son, teaching her to read and write, but never allowing her to step outside the house. She even boarded up the house to prevent her from leaving. One day, Kevin woke up in the studio and noticed the lights outside the room were flickering. When the two entered the wishing room, they found it had turned into a forest, and Shaolin was happily playing a snowman game inside. Kevin angrily pulled Sean out. He warned him to stay away from that room in the future. At this point, the couple had a big argument. While they were fiercely arguing about this matter, Mark called. He told Kevin that to take the things wished for outside, they must kill their creator. After Kelly heard this news on the phone, she drove away alone, initially intending to exchange her life for Sean's freedom through suicide, but ultimately couldn't go through with it. When Kelly returned home, she found the father and son asleep in bed. The next day, as soon as the two entered the living room, they saw that Sean had grown up. Kevin felt that the grown-up Sean was very dangerous. While Kelly was comforting Sean, Kevin lunged at Sean and accidentally bumped into Kelly, causing her to hit the corner of the table and pass out. Kevin and Sean got into a scuffle. When Kelly woke up, Kevin told her that during the fight, they accidentally killed Sean, and Sean turned to ashes outside the house. The scene shifts, and another Kevin wakes up to find himself alone. He starts searching everywhere for Kelly. Kevin notices the lights flickering continuously, and at this moment, the door to the wishing room won't budge. He goes to the room to find the key, only to discover it's missing. Kevin has no choice but to break through the wall and climb into the wishing room from the outside. He follows the footprints on the ground and quickly runs into the depths of the forest. It turns out that Sean had used the wishing room to create an identical house in the forest. Sean, who had transformed into Kevin's appearance through the wishing room, was discovered by Kelly because his behavior was unlike Kevin's. Shortly after the terrified escape, Kevin arrived. He jumped in through the window and began searching for Kelly. In the chaos, Kelly couldn't distinguish who the real Kevin was, so she called out Sean's name. Sean was momentarily stunned, and Kelly pushed him down the stairs, revealing his true identity. The two desperately tried to escape, only to find they couldn't get out. It turned out Sean had wished for the house to become a maze. At that moment, Sean rushed over and stabbed Kevin several times. As Sean looked out the window, the real Kevin and Kelly had already run outside the house, realizing that what was in front of them was a version of Kevin conjured by a wish. The two returned to the real world, with Sean closely pursuing them. He lunged at Kevin, who managed to pull him outside the door. Kelly quickly shut the door tightly, and time rapidly passed over Sean. Kelly watched as Sean transformed from a young man into an old man, eventually turning into a pile of ashes. A month later, the couple moved out of the villa. Kelly, however, discovered that she was pregnant. Whose child was it? At this moment, the lights nearby began to flicker. Had they really left that room? Was the world they were in now truly the real world? The story ends here. It must be said that the concept of this movie is incredibly imaginative. It allows one to obtain what they desire without effort, but these things cannot be used outside the house. To take them outside, the creator must be sacrificed. Yet, in the face of human nature and desire, who can truly make such a choice? This is a movie well worth watching.